My name's Sarah. I'm from Raw and Pure. I'm one half of a cooperative team. We grow and sell organic veg from our organic small holding, which is 11 acres, at Polebrook Hayes, near Markfield. So this is to show you round and give you an idea of who we are and what we do. So roughly, we're starting here. I thought we'd start at the top of the field. This is the orchard. It's a 1 acre orchard. It's been planted now for 2 years in November. We've done it in partnership and collaboration with Leicester Heritage Apples, which is Nigel Deacon, this good man here. And we've got a lot of local Leicester varieties. It is a community orchard, so as well as being cooperative, we do have a community orchard. We do have open days, so people are welcome to join in. We are a cooperative, and we believe in not-for-profit and affordable food for all, and protecting our environment and our biosphere. In that, large-scale agriculture, I think, is quite detrimental to the very resource that they're relying on, and we're trying to offer an alternative, a realistic alternative to this large-scale agriculture, which we feel is counterproductive. And I'll talk more about that as we walk down through the farm. There's lots of methods that we use. It's hard to grow without large-scale machinery and make it viable financially. So we're pioneering ways to make small-scale farming financially viable, and that's what we're currently doing, while working cooperatively on a not-for-profit basis. There's a lot of low-paid work in agriculture as well, which we would like to readdress. There are a lot of issues that we're trying to solve. They're very, very large issues, and we're chipping away trying to address them. So this is the orchard. I thought I'd take you through. We have 2 acres here, which is regenerating woodland, and we have Steve, our beekeeper. He has 9 hives behind there. I would potentially show you those, but I'm a little bit respectful of the bees. I respect the bees very, very much, and we'll leave them there. They can be a bit feisty, certainly at this time of year.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
So what I'll do is we'll walk down the farm and I'll show you around.
Okay.
Okay. So we're walking down now from the orchard and the regenerating woodland down to the bottom field. So we have 2 fields, a top field and a bottom field. The top field is 6 acres, and the bottom field is 5 acres. So we have the 1 acre orchard and the 2 acre regenerating woodland, and then as we walk down we've got 3 acres of wild meadowland, and also at the bottom, just in front of the hedge line, we also have a 20 by 20 metre liner that is part of our off-grid sustainable irrigation system that we designed and built ourselves last year and this winter just gone. I don't know if you'll be able to see that. We had a tree fall down in the storms, and there was blocked access completely, and unfortunately there was a massive colony, a beehive. It was all through the whole trunk. It must have been so old, and we tried to save them, but they flew off. That's just the way it is. Now into the second field, turning round to the left-hand corner and going through the top. This is that, walking in the top field. Now, I don't know if you can see here, this is the top of the chicken run down here. It's they've got 1/4 of an acre.
Wow.
It's a massive space. As you can see, they've got loads and loads of space. It's fox-proofed and fenced all the way around to keep them safe, because obviously we do have rather a lot of foxes in this area. But as you can see, well, I hope you can see, we've got a lot of trees at the top end here. But yeah, it's a nice
Just to explain something, when you say fox-proof, I can see...
That's electric
okay.
wire. There's one at the top and one at the bottom.
Got you. I'm glad I didn't touch it now.
Because the foxes will jump and they'll dig.
Yes, yeah.
So we've got one at the top and one at the bottom. Yeah, so...
Wow, so that's your whole
nice
chicken area.
For the chickens. The chickens are also not forced, so their egg laying is actually seasonal. It goes with the amount of daylight hours. So coming up now, as the daylight hours are dropping, they start losing their feathers and recouping. They have a bit of a rest, they regenerate. The egg laying starts lessening off up until solstice, actually. It's bizarre watching nature, but the chickens seem to know when the shortest day is, and bizarrely start laying again as soon as the shortest day of the year's been. Then egg production starts going up, and that is the natural cycle of how the eggs lay, how the chickens lay. Coming round the top of the bottom field, and this is where we do most of the growing. As you've seen, we've got the chickens on the right hand side, the barn's down at the bottom, and then it opens up, and this bottom field is 5 acres. So you can see Sue and Chess working in the background. Tuesday is volunteer day. People, it's open farm, you're welcome to come along. Do give me a ring first. We're not that easy to find, so you will need to phone me. My phone number is 07812 990603 if you're interested. We bring something to share, and we sit and have lunch and take home some veg at the end of it. It's nice, I really enjoy it.
Yes, I've been and it was great fun.
Yeah, the food's lovely. So a little bit about the growing. We use this black membrane. This has been revolutionary. We trialled it last year and we've used it en masse this year. It's cornstarch based, it's supposedly biodegradable, although we found it doesn't biodegrade that well in a compost heap, but I suppose they're perfecting it, as everybody needs to do, but it's made an enormous difference to us, the amount that we can grow. We've also got the EnviroMesh, which protects from pigeons and butterflies, etc., caterpillars. But what we do is we go down the field in rows, as you can see, and we find that this works well. For everything's regimented, so it covers. It doesn't matter what plot you're working on, the EnviroMesh, or this is a thicker membrane that we use to cover. It keeps the water in, it keeps the weeds off. So we cover with that. We put compost down, we cover with that, we pull it back, and then we put the cornstarch membrane down, and that's how we grow. So the brassicas, obviously we've had a very dry year this year. They've struggled. They've just sat in the ground and struggled. But if you look over there, that's the tank to the irrigation system, which big shout out to Hinckley and Bosworth Leader Fund and BA Carbon Fund via Leapfrog, without whose funding and support and belief in us, we wouldn't have managed to have had the opportunity to build. I mean, it's fantastic. We have built this ourselves, we've designed it ourselves, and it's solar powered, water capture and irrigation. We use an irrigation system. I'm massively proud of it. If you can see the membrane through the trees here, so that's used as a rooftop, mimics a rooftop for water collection. It then goes, we built a hopper, it goes into a hopper, it's filtered with 2 very expensive industrial filters. It goes through this pipe here and into this tank. And then down the field, it's buried, massive pipe work, goes all the way down the field and joins to a T, where there's pipe work leading across the front of all the polytunnels. There's another big tunnel behind that caravan, which is the hub of our social world. And there's a solar panel which I don't think you can see from here, and a pump which I'll show you as we walk down. And you flick a switch and we can water not only any tunnel but any bed. We thought that there would have been companies out there that were doing this. We've found that there weren't, so we designed it and built it ourselves, which was a very large learning curve, and I have gone very grey, but it was all worth it.
So it's a solar powered pump?
Yeah, solar powered pump.
Right.
Yeah, I mean we couldn't have done this before because the technology is so new. So yeah, it's brilliant. I mean the broad beans there, we've harvested them. Those are left for seed. We do collect all our own seed, so it does look messy, but it's actually very practical and very useful. So we can walk down the beds, which, like I say, are very regimented. If you operate on an organic system, how we ensure that we don't get so many pests and diseases is on a rotation basis, which I'm sure a lot of you know already. Maybe we should have walked through the bean bed that is green rather than the dead broad bean bed, but never mind. So this here under the black membrane is our composting heap. So we have, when we weed, we obviously use it all. We put manure and we make heaps. So we make heaps in ridge rows that go along on the beds where the crops are. So we have a fallow bed, but we also use it for putting the compost heaps on, which means that we don't have to move the compost heap twice. It's composted where we need to use it. These will be 2 new beds in the next year. Again, these are lettuce that we're saving for seed, courgettes. These lettuce have bolted over the winter, but on the other side we have lettuce that we're using now. This again is another brassica bed. We've struggled with the brassicas. The brassicas have struggled most out of all the crops in this dry weather. And even with the irrigation system, I mean, we have managed to water, but it's not been easy. So yes, and then you see the polytunnels. Now I'll take you and show you the pump. So yeah, that's the pump, and there we have Cheska and Sue working away while I'm waffling and not doing my fair share. And then the polytunnels, where we have 6 big polytunnels, which elongates the growing season. Absolutely priceless, worth their weight in gold. So yeah, if we walk down, we're walking now out the bottom of the farm, and then out, it goes out via a house and out onto the road.
Okay.
And from the road, you can't tell that there's anything here. We just look like a normal domestic house, which is why I think people struggle to find us.
And these tunnels are quite some length, aren't they?
Yeah, they're about 20 metres in length. And
60 feet.
Yeah, and about 7 metres, 8 metres wide. But they really do elongate.
24 feet wide for those of you abroad.
And this is taking you out and leading you out now. Actually, this bit is a real mess. But we are building we're in the process of building a passive cold store unit. Again, massive thanks to Leader, who have faith in us. It's another totally innovative project, and again, huge thanks to Hempcrete and Alex from UK Hempcrete, who we're doing it with, who's designing it. We don't have to actually do all the work on this one, so I might retain some colour in my hair. So behind that barn we're building a passive cold store. There's nothing there yet, we're in the process of doing it, which is why it's such a mess. It will be run on solar power. It will, completely emission neutral, no emissions of, again, in the agricultural industry, storing your produce before you get it to sale is again a massive polluter, CO2 emissions with the refrigerated units. This will use, again, very, very new tech in the form of solar power refrigeration unit, but also it's going to use a combined technologies, old and new, because we're going to use dig down and use the Earth's natural cooling. The Earth's regulated at 9 degrees, it doesn't change. But then we're going to use airflow systems because obviously you don't want that dampness. And different materials, building materials like hempcrete instead of normal bricks and mortar, it has different properties. Again, it's very new. So that's our project, our new project, because we're not busy enough. So that will be up and running for next season.
Yeah.
And then I shall move on to my next project.
There will be people watching this who think, why doesn't Sarah just spray all those brambles? Could you explain why you don't do that?
Well, yeah, we like hard work. No, I mean,
Because this is it's an important part of what you do, isn't it?
I mean, for me personally, I suppose people here might hear organic and think that it's well, maybe they don't understand what the word means. It just means that we don't use chemicals. I mean, to me, these aren't just brambles. I mean, they've got edible fruit on them. So to spray them with a chemical that if you ingested would do you some serious harm, but to then spray your food with it
Yes.
and then eat your food, it just strikes me as irrational. And I also believe, I believe many things, in industrial scale farming, in normal farming, the amount of chemicals that are used, I mean the amount of money involved in buying them, the amount of chemicals that are used is destroying the soil. It's getting into our water system, it leaches into our water system. There's so much hidden cost of removing the chemicals from our water supply that nobody actually mentions, which the taxpayer pays for, but then you think you're getting cheap food, but actually you're paying in another way. Apart from poisoning our food supply and poisoning our water supply, I think it does enormous damage to the soil. And this is where I start to sound a bit wuggy. But the soil is actually a living organism.
Yes, I can second that. As an apple tree grower, if the soil isn't right and the soil structure isn't right and the soil bacteria are not healthy, your plants or trees cannot grow.
No.
It doesn't matter how much fertiliser you put on, it makes no difference. If the soil structure's wrong, it'll have no effect.
And large-scale machinery obviously compacts the soil.
Yes.
It damages all the levels. You've got different levels. It's a whole ecosystem in your soil. The machinery damages that. The chemical sprays damage that. It's a severe monoculture. You've unbalanced the whole biosphere, the whole ecosystem that everything relies on.
Okay, thanks, Sarah.
Okay, I think that's great.
A bit of a waffle
Thank you
there.
very much.
Thank you.